Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. Who is the abuser? The kids?
I have hit my mom 2 or 3 times.
Or mom?
I hate you enough to bully you. You've been screwing up my life since you were born.
So he's not just attacking you, you're attacking him.
Plus, musician Dave Navarro.
His mother was murdered at the hands of her ex-boyfriend.
A powerful one-on-one.
He holds a gun in my head.
Did you think you were dead at that point? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. How's it going? Guys? His mother was a model, tall, statuesque, and stunning. She was his world, but at just 15 years old, my guest today says that world was shattered. He was held at gunpoint and handcuffed by his mother's ex-boyfriend, the man who would ultimately shoot his mother in the head and take her life. The 15-year-old boy eventually managed to turn the horror and pain of his childhood into music that ultimately launched him into superstardom. I'm talking about musician Dave Navarro of Jane's Addiction. Dave tells the story of his mother Connie and his journey as he comes to terms with the senseless tragedy. He tells his story in his documentary, Morning Sun.
Mom and I were really close. It's been 25 years since the murder. It just was the darkest, most horrible moment of my life.
I'm going to sit down and talk with Dave Navarro later, but first we're going to talk to Victoria. She's a divorced mom with 3 children who says she has a serious domestic violence problem happening in her home. It's so serious that I recently received this very short email from her close friend Noah. Quote, Dr. Phil, my friend's kids beat the hell out of her, literally, and there is nothing she can do about it. I have a horrible picture to prove it, backed by thousands of police reports, close quotes. Here's the picture that Noah is talking about. Victoria claims she gets slapped, kicked, and hit and pushed by her 2 teen sons. She shipped one of them off to a juvenile detention facility a month ago and basically sent her other son, 15-year-old Angelo, to me. Victoria also says, quote, Angelo hates me because I'm not a good parent. I'm not a good parent at all. Now, how is it possible that this mother is being physically disciplined and punished by her own children? Let's hear what she has to say.
I live in constant fear of my 15-year-old son. We physically fight 3 to 5 times a week.
I'm asking you / telling you not to go.
I have been punched by Angelo in my arms, kicked, bitten, thrown against the walls. Angelo will punish me for reprimanding him by punching holes in my walls.
He will come down the stairs and push past me, and I will push past him, and I will try to close the door, hence you can see all my damage from the doors.
Angelo has the same violent aggression that he had when he was 7. He was expelled from 1st grade. He threatened the staff and students with a knife. Angelo went into foster care from about 8 years old to about 9.5 years old because of his extreme violent behavior. He has missed 50 days of school since Thanksgiving. He smokes marijuana. Back in May 2015, one of our fights escalated. He pinned me to the ground and kneeled onto my rib cage. I thought that I heard my ribs breaking. It was, in fact, tearing my ligaments. I was bedbound. He did not even care. My 10-year-old daughter has called the police over 21 times. She fears for my life. I am terrified of the young man Angelo is becoming because he is an abuser.
Well, Victoria, it sounds like you're a prisoner in your own home. Okay, you say that sometimes the police are at your house at least 3 times a day. I mean, seriously, 3 times a day the cops are coming to your house? Well, who calls them?
Mostly my daughter.
So she calls the cops because she's afraid of what he's going to do to you.
She's afraid of the whole scenario. It's pretty scary. Someone's going to get hurt that day. Someone will get hurt. Be it her, me, him. Someone will get hurt.
Well, I pulled some example statements that you make to the police when they arrive. My son refuses to listen to me. He got angry when I pulled out his internet cable and called the police. 6/6/2015. My son Angelo became irate because I took away his iPad and called the police before it escalated. 8/29. Today, my son Angelo and I got into a heated argument because he refused to come to a family barbecue. He was sitting on his bed, and when I tried to get him up, he scratched me in the face with his hand. I don't want him arrested. I want to document this to start a PINS petition. And what's a PINS petition?
Person in need of supervision.
Okay, so you're trying to build a record.
Correct.
Okay, 10/21/15. My son Angelo is out of control. He doesn't follow my rules, does what he wants, skips schools, and plays video games all day. And I can't say anything to him because he gets aggressive. He missed the school bus again today, and I need a report for court. What did the police say when you called them out to say, I just wanted you to know that he's on the bed and won't do what I'm telling him?
Well, they come because we are physically fighting, and then they write these...
And then you say, this is what led to it. This is what led up to the fight.
Yes.
He was on the bed, wouldn't do what I told him, and then we got into this altercation.
And the police tell me that they are not my public babysitter, to please stop calling them. And if they come back here again, someone is going to a psych ward for the night.
You said that he went into foster care.
Correct.
At what age?
7.5, 8.
You said he went into foster care. You put him into foster care.
I voluntarily placed him into...
He didn't just went.
Correct.
You voluntarily, I guess you had built this kind of record or something or whatever, but you just voluntarily took him to a courthouse or somewhere and said, here, this is my son, I'm his mother, I have a house, I have a roof, but I don't want to keep him. I want you to put him in foster care because I can't handle him.
That's not the way it happens.
How did it happen?
Child Protective Services is constantly involved in my home due to the police reports, and it's a case of if you don't help your kids, then we're going to take your kids, and I can't help my kids. They are out of control, so it was a voluntarily, well, I can't take care of them, so then if you can put them in a teaching foster home with a role model family and teach him how to be great and keep him safe.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, but this was voluntary.
Yes, it was voluntary.
They did not take the children.
No.
So why is this happening in your opinion?
Monkey see, monkey do. Copycat situation.
15-year-old Angelo is here, but he flew on a separate flight from his mother and has not seen her since they arrived in Los Angeles. We're going to explain why when we meet Angelo after the break.
My mom calls me a mistake, an accident. I have hit my mom 2 or 3 times.
Why are you going to John's house?
The littlest thing set her off one time. She came after me and just started hitting me.
And later...
Those are disgusting words. That's a disgusting thing to say.
I don't know why she hates me so much.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. Is America in a man's session?
I'm supporting both of us and our daughter.
4 years you've been unemployed. Why couldn't you get a job?
We really cannot afford it.
You couldn't afford to get a job?
If he can't step up,
You believe you're cursed.
Yeah, I think I'm cursed.
his mother-in-law is speaking out.
TJ's a loser, a liar, a manipulator.
You're not helping by degrading him on a daily basis.
Let me stop you there. I don't do that.
She's crazy. She's crazy.
That's Monday.
I fear for the safety of my life. One day, Angelo was restraining himself from hitting me, so he just went, "Oof." This is my daughter's room, and it's been pounded on. This actually was, in fact, from me, and that's how we deal with anger in my house.
Victoria says she is a divorced mother with 3 children. She claims her 16-year-old son is in a juvenile facility. Her 15-year-old son hits and punches her. And her 10-year-old daughter, who is caught in the middle, has called the police 21 times. Now, Victoria says she's here today for help with how to deal with her 15-year-old son, Angelo, who she claims recently bruised her arms in a brawl over some headphones. Now, Angelo says that if his mother starts hitting him, then he just has to hit her back, even though he says he knows it's wrong. Here's more of what he has to say.
There's a lot of arguments in the house.
Backpack full of
Basketball and chargers for my phone.
Why are you going to John's house?
My mom calls me a mistake, an accident. If she tells me I'm great, then I say, no, I'm not. When I get really, really mad, I have called her the B word.
You show up at her house to throw you out, and you know she will.
My mom's not patient at all. The littlest things set her off. The other day, we had no hot water, and I got really mad, so I just started yelling, I can't take a shower. I have hit my mom 2 or 3 times. I have punched holes in my bedroom wall. I got really mad and just came and just punched it. This hole right here was made with a piece of wood. One time, she came after me and just started hitting me. Got so mad, I just hit her back. I know that's wrong now. My mom doesn't like me. I don't think she loves me as much as someone else's mom would.
Angelo, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
When it came time to leave to come here, you two got in an argument, right? Mm-hmm. And your clothes wound up getting thrown
On the front lawn.
Out in the front lawn.
And my shoes.
Your clothes and your shoes.
Yep.
And it was like 2 degrees. You had to fly in your pajamas?
Yep.
Because all your clothes were frozen on the front lawn? Did you throw his clothes on the front yard?
Yes.
Why?
Because he refused to come on the show, and I said, well, this is a do or die situation where if you can't go on the show, then you can't live here because we can't live like this. And if you're not going to accept this help, then you need to go.
I'm just wondering what kind of parenting he's getting from you. And then I find out on Sunday, before you're to come here, the police were called twice. His clothes are thrown out on the front yard. They're frozen. He has to fly in his pajamas. Who's the adult here?
Me.
You told CPS to just come get him. The police to just call CPS and just come get him. Just, you're done. You can't do it. You're done. Right?
Yes, I did.
Are you contributing to all of this chaos?
100%. Well, yes, of course, yes. I'm just as fault as he is.
Because I'm looking to see where the adult here is. I'm looking for somebody that's the calm in the middle of the storm. You're putting your hands on your mother in anger, right? That's wrong. You know that's wrong, right? Why are you doing that?
I feel that when she comes after me and she starts getting physical, that not every time I hit my mom, not every single time, but there is a few times that I have, and that I feel like I explode because every time she hits me, I just keep building. The anger keeps building and building and building, and then I just get so mad, and I hit her back.
And how do you feel when you do that?
Terrible. I feel automatic, like I don't know why I just hit my mom. It was wrong, and I try to stop myself every time, But when someone's coming at you, throwing things at you, spitting on you, kicking you, hitting you over and over again, it just gets so much, it's so much to handle that I just get so mad and I hit her sometimes.
I'm hearing him say, you're in there kicking him, spitting at him, slugging him. Is that true? Are you losing it and going after him?
This Sunday, I'm losing grip.
Well, not just this Sunday.
It's not like, it's not all at one time. It's not all in one day I attack him. When he's using I attack him, it's going in his room and I'm taking his blanket off him, you know, no, go to school. Like, that's what he means by attacking, I think.
You get physical most of the time.
Yeah, I'm losing grip. I'm losing grip. I can't do it.
So, in fact, you're attacking him. He's not just attacking you, you're attacking him.
Totally both ways. Both ways.
Well, that isn't what you told me before.
Little bastard. I hate you enough to kill you.
I don't know why she hates me so much. I don't know why I've been ruining her life since I was a little kid. I didn't ask her to have me. I didn't ask for this.
And later, I fear what you're modeling for your daughter. Yelling and screaming and going back and forth. You've got to change what you're doing. Angelo taped part of the incident this past Valentine's Day that ended with his clothes on the front lawn. Now, Victoria has not heard this recording, but she'll hear it now.
I told you, I said it. I said it. I said you were going to do it. I said it. I knew 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 it. You little bastard. Little bastard. You bastard. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. And then I hate you some more. And just when I think I can't hate you some more, I hate you enough to kill you. So help me God. That's when I think I can't hate you enough. That's when I think I can't. You've been up my life for the last 2 years. You've been screwing up my life since you were born. Okay? Screwing up my life since you were born. Since you were born. You was no good. Opportunity of a lifetime. You blew your last chance, dude. You blew it. On every level.
That's not a good parent. That's a horrible parent. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Those are disgusting words. That's a disgusting thing to say to your kid. That's so horrible. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Angelo, how do you feel when you listen to that?
I don't know. I don't know why she's so mad at me, why she hates me so much.
I don't.
I don't know why I've been ruining her life since I was a little kid, and I didn't ask for this life. I didn't ask her to have me. I didn't ask for this.
I said those things out of
Absolute beyond hopelessness that if we didn't get this, that if we can't get some type of, like, it was helplessness, it was hopelessness, it was defeat.
What do you want, Angelo? If you could write the script for your life, what do you want?
To be successful, and
What'd you like at home?
not to be screamed at, to have a civil house, not to fight with my family, just to not be mad all the time. I just want to be happy.
What would that mean to you to have peace at home? If it was calm and peaceful and there was just joy in the home, what would that mean to you?
I don't know. It's never really happened before.
You never even lived it. You have no idea. You don't even have a concept.
I mean, I
of it.
have when I was younger, but it's been like this for probably 4 years.
What are you most proud of?
I really don't know. I don't have any accomplishments like that to be proud of.
What do you think about that?
It's terrible.
I can tell you right now, as I sit here, that I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm proud of you because you've got the guts and the courage and the stamina to step up here, sit up here, give your feelings a voice, own up to the fact that you're doing some things you shouldn't do, claim the need to make some changes, and man up and say, I need to do better. That shows me insight, it shows me empathy, it shows me understanding, it shows me courage, it shows me strength, and I am proud of that. I'm telling you, I'm proud of that. I really am. I'm going to help you do those things. We have to take a break. Victoria's childhood friend Noah emailed me seeking help for his friend who he calls a manic mess. We're going to talk to him next. Plus, we'll hear what Victoria's 10-year-old daughter has to say about life at home.
My brother and my mom fight so much that I called the cops more than 10 times. I'm afraid that Ansel might hurt my mom.
And later, rock star Dave Navarro talks about meeting his mother's killer in prison.
So you walked in there and saw him?
Yeah, we went to San Quentin just to look him in the eye.
My brother and my mom get into fights. I've seen my brother hit my mom. I have to ask my brother to stop yelling at my mom. My brother and my mom fight so much that I called the cops more than 10 times. It makes me upset and scared when I see my mom and my brother fighting. I'm afraid that Ansel might hurt my mom. I wish my mom and my brother would stop fighting so we can be a happy family.
Well, that was Victoria's 10-year-old daughter, Maria, who spends many days yelling, "Stop!" to the screaming and has called 911 over 20 times. Victoria's longtime friend Noah reached out to me seeking help for his friend, who he believes is just a manic mess.
I'm at my wit's end with my friend. Victoria is definitely a good person and loves her kids. She just doesn't know how to be a parent. Victoria sent me this picture and I said, well, you have a bloodied lip, what gives? One of her kids said he accidentally hit her in the mouth. I told Vicky that people being punched in the lip is not an accident. Vicky told me about Angelo smashing TVs and taking her security cameras away from her. I think Angelo is running the house. I emailed Dr. Phil because obviously there's some tragic situations going on that need to be fixed. If Vicky doesn't get some help, she might end up dead.
Noah, thanks for being here and thanks for writing. Do you think she understands her role in this when she talks to you on a regular basis, or do you think she's playing the victim?
I thought there was a different dynamic going on. This is, this is not the case.
Well, I think that's a long way of saying you're finding out there's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I fear? I fear what you're modeling for your daughter, yelling and screaming and going back and forth. You're engaging your son here and your other son in relationships where this seems to be okay, that this is just the norm. You've got to change what you're doing, not just as a mother, but as a woman. You don't treat anyone with dignity and respect because you don't treat yourself with dignity and respect. I've got to break this pattern up. I want to introduce Kristen Hayes, outreach director at a place called Turnabout Ranch in Escalante, Utah. It is a great place for teens. It's just absolutely beautiful in a beautiful setting. It's a therapeutic environment. You work with horses and animals. It gives you a chance to say, forget the world, I'm going to focus on me. And Kristen, is this the best candidate you have ever seen for Turnabout Ranch?
I would agree. And Turnabout Ranch is a licensed and accredited residential treatment program for struggling teens ages 13 to 17 years old. And Turnabout is set on a real working cattle ranch in beautiful Escalante, Utah, and is uniquely adept at helping teens learn values and self-worth.
How does that sound to you? Does it sound like something you'd want to do?
Sounds great, yeah.
I think you'd just absolutely love that. And I want to send you somewhere as well. I want to send you to a place called Onsite in Tennessee. It's run by a friend of mine. The CEO is Miles Adcox, and this is a trusted source for anyone struggling with trauma and self-worth and esteem and mental health issues. And I think all of those are true with you. I think you may be suffering from PTSD as well. And so while he's doing that, you need to be doing this. And in addition to having some ongoing therapeutic involvement to create a family plan. Are you willing to do the work?
Thank you, yes.
All right, then we're going to try to redefine this family, okay? We're going to try to redefine this family. All right, we've got to move on. Coming up, we're going to meet a legendary musician who says he was only 15 years old, exactly like Angelo, when his mother was murdered at the hands of her ex-boyfriend. Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction joins us next.
She was a model. My mom was able to see the good in people.
Connie Navarro, brutally murdered in Navarro's Westwood condominium.
My dad told me she's gone. It just was the darkest, most horrible moment of my life.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. You won't believe his excuses.
You believe you're cursed.
Yeah, I think I'm cursed.
For not having a job.
We really cannot afford it.
You couldn't afford to get a job?
That's Monday.
My next guest lost his mother, Connie, when her ex-boyfriend shot her to death. At the time, he was only 15 years old. He grew up to become an internationally known musician and managed to turn his pain into art in the form of a cutting-edge documentary called Morning Sun.
Sue Jory and Connie Navarro were brutally murdered in Navarro's Westwood condominium.
He changed an entire family forever.
What does it bring up? What is your trepidation?
It feels ugly to tell the story. I've never been one to not share what's going on with me emotionally. I think as an artist and as a musician, that's just inherent. That's what we do. Mom and I were really close. She would read to me every night. She just did outside of the box things like that with me. She was a model, was in the entertainment business.
And she became very successful. She was one of the top girls in her modeling agency.
My mom was able to see the good in people, and I think that there was a part of her that saw some good in this guy and wanted to be like Superwoman and kind of come in and save the day. Once they broke up, my whole neighborhood was in fear of this guy.
She had a restraining order on him.
I just knew something was going to go wrong, and I knew she was going to die. Cop cars pulled up in front of my dad's house, and then my dad came in with the police officers, and he sat me down on the bed and told me she's gone. On that day, everything changed.
Please welcome the host of Spike TV's Ink Master and legendary guitarist for Jane's Addiction, Dave Navarro.
Thank you so much, buddy.
All right, it's good to have you.
It's really good to be here. Thank you.
Well, let's go back through that story. And how long had your mother been dating this guy?
They had been together on and off for about 5 years, so it was a pretty long relationship.
How did he treat you?
You know, I think that part of this guy's MO was to con everybody and appear as a very nurturing human being. So when he was getting his way and everything was great, he treated us great. And when things were not going his way, that's when the discomfort escalated.
Well, shortly before his mother was murdered, Dave had a terrifying visit from the killer. Dave was just 15 years old. Take a look.
I was staying home from school one day sick. I'm watching TV, and I hear a bunch of really loud noise coming from the upstairs. And it was my mom's ex-boyfriend taking the glass door off the rail. So I panicked because I knew that this was a dangerous dude at this point. Right. So I hid in my bathroom, and I mean, for some reason in that moment, I had the idea to call out for help to him. Mom, Dean, is anybody here? He came up and said, what's going on? And he takes me upstairs. He took me into my mom's bedroom and reaches under my mom's bed and pulls out a handgun. And I start to run. And he went, hey, and he ran after me. And he grabs my arm and at gunpoint holds a gun to my head, pulls a pair of handcuffs out from behind him and handcuffs me to the toilet.
Did you think you were dead at that point?
Yeah, I did.
You thought he was just going to kill me?
I mean, you know, the terror that goes through, and trauma, you know, I mean, the terror that goes through a 15-year-old child's mind, I mean.
Yeah, it writes on the slate of who you are. Also joining us is Dave's good friend, and he was the director of his documentary, Morning Sun, and it's Todd Newman. Todd, was this cathartic for him? As you put this on the film, was it a changing thing for him?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I was able to see changes in him that he wasn't able to see at first. And it was tough. It was tough to decipher whether it's going to be cathartic or whether it's going to be more damaging, bringing all this stuff up.
Yeah, because you don't want to open the wounds.
Right, and there's, you know...
Absolutely.
In telling the story, you have to open up, you know, cans of worms that haven't been opened in years.
Dave says his hope for doing this documentary is that people will see some of the red flags in the domestic violence and take action so it doesn't turn out the way it did here. So we're going to talk more about that right after the break.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or you can call 323-461-PHIL.
I definitely used drugs as an escape from the death issue, but I also used the death issue to do drugs.
The funeral in Westwood was at a church.
That night, I discovered if I ingest something, it's going to make pain better. Picked up a joint and smoked it and realized that it took pain away. I became a full-blown drug addict from that night on.
Dave is a scary drug addict. When he goes for death.
There was also several times where Dave OD'd and died.
The truth is that I was just trying to find an escape from all the trauma that I had gone through. And ultimately, all those things did was compound the trauma and make my life much, much worse.
Now, Connie Navarro's killer, John Riccardi, was on the run for 8 years before he was finally caught by authorities. Take a look.
On January 4th, they took him down.
Did you do it?
No, darling, I didn't do it.
Hedonistic, arrogant, vain. I've now given you adjectives that define John Riccardi. He is a classic stalker.
I sat down at the table.
And to show how mean-spirited the defendant is, he takes the body, he's going to hide it in the linen cabinet, and he takes the pillow, sticks it over her face, and snuffs out her last breath of life.
Guilty of the crime of murder of a human being, Constance Navarro. Guilty of the crime of murder of a human being, Susan Jory. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, herein fix the penalty to be imposed on the defendant, John Alexander Riccardi, to be death.
There it is, bro.
My intention to see Riccardi is, in my mind, the last step in basically turning this thing inside out. You know, sometimes I don't even know why I'm going to see this in prison. But I know that an answer will be revealed. Riccardi let my mom off the hook, really. Because if he wanted to hurt her, he should have taken me out. That would have made her suffer. Dude, that was heavy. They bring him in. He looks at me and goes, "What are you doing here?" I remember sitting there thinking, why am I not lunging across and trying to strangle this guy?
Wow. So you walked in there and saw him?
Yeah, we went to San Quentin, and I just went in to visit him, just to look him in the eye and walk out of the prison and leave him there. There was something truly empowering about that.
Yeah. You and Robin very much have in common wanting people to recognize, you know that she works in domestic violence, I know, and you know, both of you talk a lot about, first off, admitting to yourself and saying, this is domestic violence. This is not okay.
It's really hard because there's a lot of shame attached to it.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't want to admit that they've allowed themselves to be in a volatile situation like this.
You know, Robin, you hear it from the women in the shelters all the time. Once they admit it, then that's the first step in making a plan, right?
That's exactly right. And sadly, victims are told by their abusers that it's their fault, and they're told that so much that they do become believers of that. And sadly, it takes them a long time to believe that it's not their fault, that they deserve better.
Your mom was killed when she broke up.
Yeah.
It's called separation assault. There are more serious injuries and murders in the 2 or 3 weeks after breaking up from an abuser than any other time in the relationship. That is the most dangerous time, when you break up and get away from your abuser, because they panic.
It makes so much sense because, like I said, I wasn't really aware of a whole lot of violent actions in the house. I knew that there was an energy, I knew that there were problems, but yeah, this was exactly what you're talking about, is at that moment of you know, disconnect, this guy couldn't handle rejection.
When we come back, I have critical information for anyone who may find themselves in a domestic violence situation, thanks to my wife, Robin. You don't want to miss this. We're going to talk about that and where to see this gripping, gripping documentary. We'll be right back. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. You were 15 when all of this was happening, and it can seem really chaotic, but you've done very well for yourself. You know, Angelo's sitting here stuck in the middle of this, and I'm the incurable optimist, but I see a lot of hope and spark in this young man. What do you watch this show from backstage? What do you see in this kid?
I got to tell you, at 15 years old, to be able to articulate and express yourself as amazingly well as you do is such an asset for you. And the fact that you're willing to do the work, you're willing to grow is, I mean, our hats are truly off to you, man. I mean, that is great. And I really wish I had that at 15.
Thank you.
Good for you.
As you all know, Robin's Foundation, When Georgia Smiled, is dedicated to helping women and children suffering from abuse. And she has an app called the Aspire app, which is a breakthrough in technology that could save your life the moment the abuse is occurring. This is disguised as an ordinary app on your smartphone. you can pre-record a message or a text that you can send to a trusted contact or 911 the moment you are in need. And immediately you start recording what's happening in the room. You can visit iTunes or the Android App Store to download the free Aspire app for your smartphone. It could save your life. It's been downloaded hundreds of thousands of times, and it's been recognized as one of 2 of the most significant apps for domestic violence, and even recognized on the floor of the United Nations. So congratulations on all of that. So tell us where people can see this documentary.
Well, the film is available in all the digital outlet places, iTunes, Amazon. It's on video on demand.
On the Dr. Phil homepage, drphil.com, there's going to be a big link right there. You're going to see an icon right there, so you can click right there. You're going to see it on my Facebook page. You're going to see it on my Twitter. You're going to see it on When Georgia Smiled. You're going to see it on her page. You're going to see it on the doctor's homepage. It is compelling. It is thought-provoking, and it will make you really think about this domestic violence stuff, and it'll tell you a lot about this very deep individual sitting next to me. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially musician Dave Navarro, for sharing what he and Todd Newman did with the documentary Morning Sun. Dave is a supporter of No More, an organization raising an awareness for domestic violence. The week of March 6th is being celebrated as No More Week, a national grassroots activation aimed at making domestic violence and sexual assault awareness and prevention a priority year-round. Visit nomore.org to learn more. Dave's complete documentary, as he says, is now available on iTunes and everywhere I just said. I also want to thank Kristen Hayes and Turnabout Ranch, Victor Lopez, owner of Youth Intervention Transport Services, and Miles Adcox, and On-Site. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
I've always been naive, call it.
Ooh, you know we gon'